Good evening and welcome to a brand new season of SportsZone. We are so back. I'm your host, Steven Lucero, joined by Nick Volpetti and Jadon Crumpton. And we're going to start things off with the Mean Green because just like that, we're 2-0. It's been a pretty crazy start to the season. They had that obviously opening week blowout versus Lamar, 66 to a goose egg of 0. But last week, a little bit closer, right, against Western Michigan. They win in a 33-30 overtime thriller. So Nick, start us off. What did you see from UNT in that crazy game?
I thought they did a really good job of responding after being down 24-10. I mean, early on I was thinking, like, here we go again. It's the same Mean Green. They're going to give up 45 points and their defense is going to suck again. But they did a very good job of responding. They only allowed 3 points the rest of the way in regulation, a couple of big stops in that fourth quarter to give the offense a chance to get back into the game. I just thought it was a good win to build some character. I mean, you got to go all the way out to Michigan. I mean, it's not an easy place to go. I know they were 12.5-point favorites, but, I mean, I think they did a good job of responding early on. You see the touchdown here down the left side, one of the highlight plays from the game. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great win to build some character and especially in overtime. Gets the juices going early on in the season.
Yeah, definitely. It was good to see because, like you said, I mean, there were some highlights here, but there were some rough spots as we saw right there. They were very on it offensively in that first quarter, first half. And I was like, this UNT defense, we talked so much about their struggles last year, and it's like, are we back to that version of UNT's defense? Jadon, what did you see from the defense, and how do you think they can respond after a little bit of a rough one in the first half especially?
I mean, on paper, Western Michigan's not a team you want to be giving up 30 points
Exactly.
to. You know, and obviously that's the struggle we're all going to point to is just simply you got to give your offense a better chance against a team like that. But what I really saw and really loved is after we went down and the situation got dire, at the end of the game and in overtime, our defense stepped up and allowed the offense to do what they needed to do to win the game. And that was something I was really proud of. And that gave me a lot of hope moving forward despite the struggles throughout the game.
Yeah, certainly. Skylar Cassidy, the new DC from Sam Houston, brought pretty much half of his defense with him, I think you could say. And we saw, obviously, dominance since week one. They looked better in that second half. But what did you see overall from the defensive unit so far this season?
I think that they've been pretty good. I mean, of course, in the first game, the first shutout, I think it was 22 years.
Yeah.
First time in 22 years they've had a shutout, so of course that was big. Just against an FCS program, though, so you kind of expect a big win. But, I mean, it was kind of like a tale of two halves for the defense. You could see they gave up 24 points early on, 27. But throughout the rest of that 14 minutes in the fourth quarter, they didn't give up any more points. So they did a really good job of giving UNT a chance to come back. Being able to play from behind is something an ability that you need to be able to have as a team. There's going to be times in the season like this where you're going to have some underwhelming performances, and then you see here Mackenzie McGill game-winning touchdown. So yeah, I thought it was a great job of responding, and I thought the defense, they did a good job in the fourth quarter when it really matters.
Yeah, Mackenzie McGill was awesome. Over 100 yards, 102 to be exact, plus the touchdown. It's good to see the running game get going, especially after how many injuries you had last season. What did you see from Mackenzie McGill, Jadon, and of course Drew Mestemaker at QB1?
Man, Mestemaker has been really impressive this year, and I don't want to give a verdict on him yet because, like I said, we played Lamar and we played Western Michigan, but in those games he's looked great, and I don't want to discredit that either. I'd love to see what he does moving forward, but so far he's really promising. I'm really excited. And as for McGill, I mean, he's the big reason we won that game. He literally scored the game-winning touchdown. He led that rushing attack that led the comeback. And I'm really excited to see what both those guys can do to our backfield moving forward.
Yeah, certainly. It's huge for the offense. And for Mestemaker, we've talked a little bit about him in the sense that, I mean, he hasn't played all that much. It was his first start since high school, you know, back in the First Responders Bowl last season. But now, in these first two games, he's looked really sharp. Nick, what have you seen from Mestemaker overall? And do you think he could be the future at QB1 for UNT?
For a freshman, he just looks so comfortable back there. I mean, he looks like a guy who's been doing this for 4 or 5 years, but he's just a freshman. Like you said, it was his first start since high school in the bowl game last year. And just for a guy that's making in his first season, he hasn't really made any big mistakes. That was one of the games where a mistake could have killed you. It could have made you lose that game. But instead, he did a good job. I mean, he didn't exactly light up the stat sheet, but he also didn't make any big mistakes to cost the team the game. And sometimes that's what you need from your quarterback. It's just be comfortable back there and give your team a chance to win. And that's exactly what Drew Mestemaker's done so far this season.
Yeah, certainly. And Mestemaker, he's just been consistent. Like you said, not making those bad turnovers, those, you know, game-losing plays. He's really just been solid, and the offense, I think, has really gelled with him. Chandler Morris last season, he was really good, but he had some turnover-worthy plays every once in a while that would kind of derail, I think, the offense. Mestemaker, He's been new, but he's been really solid and really strong, and I've liked what I've seen from him so far. So just zooming out a little bit, obviously it's only 2 weeks, going in next week against a much more challenging opponent, Washington State. I'll start with you, Jadon. What are you looking to see from UNT going into that game, try to get an upset at home?
I want us to beat them as bad as we beat Lamar.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would love to see that.
Honestly, it's hard, when we win back-to-back close games. And Washington State's a Power 5 program. I guess now it's a Power 4. The Pac-12 is kind of on the fringe there. But they're a former Power 5 program, but they're not necessarily one of those teams that you're like a huge underdog to, or if you win, it's a huge upset, right? I think we should beat Washington State.
Okay.
And so I'm looking for definitely a win. I'm going to be disappointed if we aren't able to pick up the win, especially at home.
All right, so Washington State comes in with a brand new head coach, Jimmy Rogers. So it's going to be, a little bit of a different look, Washington State, than we've seen in previous years. Nick, what are you looking to see from them, and what does UNT's defense need to do to respond?
Honestly, I got to agree with you. I think this is a game that they can win. I mean, based off of what we've seen in these first 2 games, we've seen some highlights, and we've seen that this team, they can win. I mean, they can win in these close games, and I think that we're going to see a close game here, too, against Washington State. At home, I think you're going to have more of an advantage than you had going all the way to Michigan. You're taking them all the way here. So I think that's a big difference in college football when you play at home versus when you play away, obviously. And one thing, this is kind of like sort of out there, but I think that the kickoffs need to get better.
Okay.
Against Western Michigan, I believe they started every single one of their drives past their own 35 except for 1 drive, maybe 2 drives. But they started in very good field position on almost all their drives in that game. And I think that was one of the main reasons why they were able to score 30 points. Like you said, not really a team you should be giving up 30 points to, but unfortunately that was what happened. But the defense, they only allowed 4.3 yards per play. I mean, that's not a bad number. I don't think that's a number that you complain about too much. So, I mean, I think that if you can set Washington State back a little more, give them worse field position than you gave to Western Michigan, then I think you can have some more success.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting to watch, but I want to zoom out just a little bit more because the American Conference has been hot to start this season. I mean, UNT 2-0, I'm super excited, but we've seen some incredible performances. South Florida being kind of the highlight of that. So I'll ask you guys, looking at the American Conference and UNT's chances of winning it, who do you think are some of the biggest threats to the Mean Green?
Like you said, USF is the big one. I mean, they went and they beat Florida. This is a Florida team that's been, they've been kind of shaky the last 2 years, but still, it's a big win for them.
Ranked team.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row, Boise State as well.
Yeah, that's right. They blew them out, too.
Yep.
I mean, this USF team, they look legit. They look like a team early on that could go all the way to the playoff. But, there's also teams like Memphis, Tulane. They always seem to be in the mix there. Even Temple's had a good start to the season. I believe they have like a plus 80-point differential in their first 2 games. So, this is going to be tough. I think UNT maybe could be a bit of a dark horse if they get their season going, but it's going to be tough. This could be like a 4 or 5 team race to win this conference. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Jadon, what did you see from UCF and then some of the other teams in the American? What do you think UNT is going to have to do to win this conference this season?
Well, you're going to have to take on UCF, who's now a ranked opponent, and you're going to have to beat them. I think this is going to be a conference where the one who ends up winning the conference is probably going to have 1, maybe 2 losses. No team here really has a super hard strength of schedule, and a team like USF that's beating ranked guys isn't going to lose to UAB. You know what I mean? So we have to go and we have to beat those guys, and we have to take care of the ones we're supposed to be outside of those games.
Yeah, so it's going to be a very interesting race for the American, but seeing an American team knock off Florida, that's SEC program right there. It just shows that this is a conference that can compete at a wider level. So I want to talk a little bit about, we've said, the playoffs have expanded. We know how that works now, and a G5 program can get in. Do you guys think that G5 program could come from the American?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I really think it could. We talked about USF beating Boise State how they did, and then going into the swamp and beating Florida. That's huge. That shows that they are a great football team, and they're a football team that could easily get a 10, 11, 12 seed if they can win the rest of the way, maybe even have 1 bad game and lose a game and still win the conference. They could easily get in.
Yeah, Nick, do you think it comes from the American, or do you think elsewhere is going to be that last spot?
I think it's in USF's hands. They can do it. With those 2 big wins earlier in the season, 2 wins against ranked teams, like Boise State, that their ranking might not have been justified. Like maybe they shouldn't have been ranked, but still they win 2 games against ranked opponents. It's in their hands, like you said. Now with this win against Florida, they probably can't afford a loss. It's not a situation like we've had in the past where you have to go undefeated. So I think they could absolutely do it.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Obviously, a long season ahead. It's only going to be going into week 3, but it's going to be very exciting. And now we're going to talk about the season that just started as well for the Dallas Cowboys.